Hey guys, Kevin here with eTrailer, and today I'm going to be showing you how to replace your worn out gear pack for your slide out on your 2019 Grand Design Reflection fifth wheel trailer. So if you're having issues with your slide out, not really wanting to come all the way out or come back in, maybe one side's kind of starting to come out more than the other, might be a good time to get down there and look at your gear packs. Your gear pack has a crown gear in the center of it, which has teeth in it, and that's what actually kind of helps move your slide out in and out. If those gears get chewed up too much, then you're not going to be able to have your slide out actually move forward or back. So here's what our gear pack is going to look like once it's installed. We have our two rollers, which are going to ride along our arm here, and our crown gear, which is actually going to bite into the teeth on our arm and force our slide out to move in and out. As far as installation goes, swapping out your gear pack can be super simple. The only thing you may run into some issues with is just a seized up bracket, just because sometimes over all the years, all that usage, the bracket can kind of get gunked up and really want to stick to the mounting brackets on our frame. So you may have a little bit of issue trying to break that off, but shouldn't be too bad. One of the things with this is in the instruction manual, they tell you to place your slide out about halfway out. I feel like that's a little bit too much. I'd say anywhere from like a third to a half would probably be better, just so you don't have as much tension coming out, because as this bar comes out, it's leaning that all that weight more towards the outside, which is pushing down on our gear pack here. So if we have a little bit more in, I wouldn't have had as much tension on here, and it would have been easier to swap out. So now we've gone over some of the features of our gear pack, let me show you how I installed it. So the first thing you're going to need to do before picking out your gear pack is to actually measure the arm. Once we measure our arm, we'll have three choices of gear packs to choose from. We're going to have a 2x2, a 2.5 by 2.5, or our 2x3 and 3x3 gear packs. So to measure that, we're just going to take our tape measure up, and it looks like our arm is 2 inches by 2 inches. So we know that we need the 2x2 gear pack. Just to give you a little bit of a reference, I have our 2x2 and then our 2.5 by 2.5. Now on our 2x2, there are spaces for our roll pins, but they do not come included. On our 2.5 by 2.5 and 2x3 and 3x3 gear pack, we do come with these roll pins, and these are important because that's how you can attach to your room bar, which will go between your gear pack on both sides of your slide out. So I'm going to start by disconnecting my room bar. I'm going to set that aside because we're going to put that back in once we replace our gear pack. Typically your room bar can kind of collapse into itself. I just noticed, because I was having some issues getting it off, it's actually been welded. So our inner piece of our room bar and our outer piece are welded together, so this isn't going to collapse at all, which not a problem. We can still get our gear pack out without having to collapse this in. But it does help a little bit getting it off if that's not in your way. So now we can go ahead and we're just going to break these bolts off here. Get it off by hand. All right, now we can start to pop our bolts out. We may need to use just a rubber mallet to kind of get this out, just because this has got a little bit of tension on it just from use over time and just kind of gunked up a little bit. So we'll grab a rubber mallet and get these out. My rubber mallet's not going to fit back here. I am going to have to use a steel hammer. Just want to make sure that we're being careful. We don't want to damage anything. And in our case, I am going to need to also use a punch and just kind of hit the center of that bolt just to get it the rest of the way out, because it's just really sticking. Pull our bolts out. If you're having a lot of issues with the tension, it is the room bar. Like I said, with ours being kind of welded in place, really just have to sit there and fight the bolts out. If you can take that room bar off and just easily slide it back, go ahead and do that and make your life a whole lot easier. But then we can bolt out the rest of the way. And then we can slide our gear pack out. So if you look at your gear pack, you can actually slide these brackets off and our rollers and then get to that crown gear. Our particular one here is a 15 tooth one, but there are 18 teeth models. This is a replaceable part, so if just your teeth are messed up and the rollers are fine, they're looking good, no dents, no cuts in them, you can go ahead and just replace that gear. Just match it up with what you already have, or on some models you do need to kind of look, because there are tech notes saying if it's within a certain year that you'll have to use the 18 tooth instead. All right, so now I'm going to kind of line up my holes for my room bar, get that slid in, and when we look at our brackets here, it has like a little bump out, and that bump out's going to sit inside of this well right here. So we're going to make sure that we're sitting up against that and that this portion of our bracket is flat up against our mounting bracket up here. And we're going to do that for both sides. And I'm just going to try and slip the back bolt in first. Slipped right in, and we can throw our front one in as well. Just kind of lift up our whole assembly here. You may need a little bit of persuasion to get this in. There we go. Just because adding that room bar on there puts a little bit of tension. There we go. And now all we need to do is replace our nuts back on here. And we'll just tighten those down. Okay, just double check that we're even. Yep. All right, there isn't a torque setting for this, so it's just getting it as tight as you can just with the wrench. And now we can go ahead. I need to actually slide my bar down just a little bit so I can get it matched up with our room bar here. All right, now we can try getting our bolt back through. It'll go up, and maybe I need to go just a tiny bit more. Like I said, typically you'll have one of those shear pins in there on these, and you won't have to really worry about it. And those shear pins are designed to obviously just shear away. That way, if there's ever an issue, you're not going to destroy your whole assembly. It'll just snap off of that room bar and not allow it to travel anymore. We can go ahead and take our wrench and tighten that down as well. Once you have all your bolts all nice and tight, you can go ahead and run your slide out in and out. Just make sure it's working properly before you take off and go on that camping trip. Well, I think that about does it for today's replacement of our slide out gear pack here on our 2019 Grand Design Reflection fifth wheel trailer. My name's Kevin. Thanks for watching.